And we are live. You were live with Edward, and we're talking skilled trades today. We are live. Before we get started, I want to do something very important. It's very important to me, and that is to acknowledge the lands that I'm coming from today. I'm coming from the lands of the people of the Mississauga, Sugog Island First Nations. I'm situated in the traditional territory of Mississauga and the territory covered by the Williams Treaty. And I want to also take time to pay my respects, give my prayers out to those who are mourning their loved ones in the recent discoveries of remains from the residential schools. Yes, we are live, and we are live over YouTube, Facebook, and LinkedIn. And I'm glad you are with me today. My name is Edward Logan. If you do not know me already, I am a professor at Durham College, situated at the Whitby campus in beautiful Whitby, Ontario. Today's a beautiful day here. Can't wait to get outside and enjoy the sunshine shortly. And I am a professor, and I teach plumbing. So I teach one of the skilled trades. I am also a licensed plumber with a Red Seal endorsement, which enables me to travel across Canada and do plumbing across Canada. And I am also the host and creator of the Trades Educator podcast. The podcast is for sharing between educators all the way from kindergarten all the way up to post-secondary. And this is brought to you by that podcast. This is a special edition that we're running, a special live edition. Obviously, if you're watching this live right now, you know it is live. And we're going to be talking skilled trades. And the reason why I've decided to start this is to give back to the skilled trades and to help promote the skilled trade and help to educate people on the various different skilled trades out there, and also to help the younger folks, the younger people who are entering the late stages of high school, trying to decide what pathway they're going on in their education journey, and to let them know that there is another alternative out there, as well as also to help support those people who help support them, which is their parents or their guardians, who help them decide where they're going to go and what pathway they're going to go on in their education that's going to take them down in their career. And so that's why I wanted to talk about a little bit today with you guys. One of the things that I know, and as well as a lot of people who are in the trades these days, who are probably around the same age as I have, back in the day in high school, I just remember always talking about university and college's pathways. I don't remember actually being talked about the skilled trades or apprenticeships. And I know that back in those days, I don't know if anybody else out there, doesn't matter what you do for a living. I remember during those times being very young and being like 17 or deciding what you were going to do, what pathway you were going to do for the rest of your life. And one of the best ways that we can do to decide where we're going to go down, that path we're going to go on, which journey we want to go on, what we want to do for a living, and what education we need to do to get there, is to gather as much information. So this is a place where I like to help to share a lot of the information. It doesn't, if you come from a university background, you're able to share with the young people all the different things about university and what's involved in that. If you have a background of going to college, you have ability to share that with them. And if you have a trades background or apprenticeship background, you're able to share with that. But I know, just like in my case, my support network didn't have examples or knowledge in all those areas to share. So sometimes we have to seek out other advice from other people to kind of get the full picture. And one of the things that I've known of recently, it's still kind of a shame that I noticed that trades is still a little bit lagging. I know it's a lot in the news these days, and we're promoting it, and government's funding all this stuff, right, to help us fund it and get more people into the trades. But just even myself with a son who is in high school, who's getting close to that pathway decision where he is going to go. The material that's been provided by the school, unfortunately, when you go through the material, it's just like a slideshow. Again, the university comes up first in the slideshow. They give them tons of links, tons of resources, anything you want to know about university and all the different courses and all the different universities available. And then through the next slide, they present the college pathway. And again, tons of links, tons of resources, tons of information that they can go off on it and discover more and more and get a good kind of whole picture about all about college and what programs are provided at different colleges across Ontario or across Canada. And then lastly, the third slide comes up, and it's talking about apprenticeships and skilled trades. And the thing that I was really disappointed was the fact that there wasn't as many links and or resources. So I believe, unfortunately, that whoever goes through that is probably not getting the full detail, the full picture, as much information as they can to decide where they're going to go. And I'm trying to hopefully fill that gap with this live broadcast. It will be a 15-minute broadcast, and we will talk to different trade people and different trades. Today, you have, unfortunately, just me today. We'll be talking about plumbing in just a second. But I just wanted to point out to you, and I want to share with anybody who's listening and who's going to be sharing to the young people, is that keep in mind that going the trade route is not a consolation prize, even though it came third in order to my son as things on his slides about pathways. It's not a consolation prize. Nor do I think that other types of education are not important. I believe that all three are wise choices. Me myself, I will be undertaking a master's degree in the spring. So I love education. I'm an educator. I believe in education. It doesn't matter which type. But with respect to the trades, I want to start you off with a little bit of fact here. This is based on Ontario, Canada. So if you're in another part of Canada, it might be slightly different, or if you're coming from somewhere else outside of Canada, maybe slightly different. But in the province of Ontario, there are 132 recognized trades. And I knew there was a lot of trades, even myself being a trade person. When I went to look it up, I was quite surprised when I started counting. I was like, 132, that's amazing. 132. And we come to think about the trades. I know a lot of people out there, whether you're not a tradesperson or not, you probably think about the usual ones: plumber, like myself, electrician, maybe an HVAC mechanic, the one who fixes your furnace or your air conditioning, okay, or your auto tech, the one who fixes your car. These are the common ones that come up to all of us that we all think about. But there are tons and tons more. And even with those ones, if you're not in the field, there's actually a lot more to learn about all those trades. So I'm going to start with plumbing. Just want to let you know, plumbing is a type of trade where you do have to go through what's called an apprenticeship. And I know that's kind of the key question a lot of people ask me. As I said, I mentioned I work at Durham College. When I have an open house, people are always interested in how the pathway to become a plumber is. So all these people who work on these trades just don't drop from the sky one day and are plumbers, electricians, or whatever they do. They're much like anybody else, whether you're a nurse, doctor, lawyer, whatever you may be, photographer, accountant. We have to go through some type of education. We have to get the knowledge so we can do the trade we do. And each of these trades are very important. And I think that plumbing is number one, but I'm a little bit biased, of course. So as part of your apprenticeship, just to give you an idea, in order to complete and get fully licensed in Ontario, you have to complete 9,000 hours. Okay, 9,000 hours of education. 9,000 hours. Think about that. I've compared it to other education. I started thinking about the degree that I'm going to undertake in the spring, as well as undergrad degrees or other college programs. They're very comparable to a lot of the ones that are long in nature, 3 or 4 years when you think about it. Because a plumbing apprenticeship will take you 9,000 hours, which will get you somewhere in the 4 to 5 year range of education before you can even be licensed. So you're going to have 9,000 hours. Of those 9,000 hours, you will spend 720 hours in a educational institution like Durham College. So in the apprenticeship system in plumbing, I need to find myself a sponsor, so someone who's willing to hire me on, teach me, train me, and will allow me to go to school 3 times in my apprenticeship. Once I sign that contract with them, along with the Ministry of Labor, now we're on our pathway of learning. Usually we will spend about a year in the workplace learning before our name comes up in the queue and we'll get an offer to go back to school. And in the plumbing apprenticeship, you will go back to school for 8 weeks, full time, Monday to Friday, 8 to 3, let's say, a full day of education, and 5 days a week over 8 weeks. Once we are done that, successfully completed it, and that means getting a 70 average or higher, then we have successfully passed on to that. We can now go back to our learning in the field, hands-on. As we're in the field, whether it be before or after, we are constantly making money. We're making a wage. Usually it's a percentage of what the licensed person will make. And when we we have to go to school, even though we are not working anymore, we can collect unemployment, which is a good thing. So we're still getting some money while we're being educated. And a key component that people don't know about is, and if you're not involved in it, is that when I come to school for my 3 levels, I'm trying to think, it may be a little bit more now, so I might be a little bit off with the figure, but roughly $400 I have to pay for those 8 weeks. So every time I come for 8 weeks, I got to pay $400. That's not how much the training costs. It's actually a lot more than that. And the taxpayers, those of us who are taxpayers in that in Ontario, let's say, for example, are for the rest of the bill. So it's good. We don't have to spend too much money on our education. Again, we're making money while we work or we're not in school. We have to come back for 3 levels of 8 weeks. And actually in Ontario, we actually do now a 9th week, an examination prep. Once we complete all 3 levels successfully, and we have that 70 average, and we've completed all our extra learning in the field, so we have a total of 9,000 hours altogether, we now qualify to write our, what they call the CFQ, or the Certificate of Qualification, our examination. Our examination in Ontario is a 125 questions, and it's I believe we still get 4 hours for it. And the good thing that's changed in Ontario in recent years, or sorry, past years, so I say, is that we now write our certification on the National Plumbing Code. So as a plumber, we have potentially a provincial code like we have due in Ontario, and then we also have a national code across Canada that some of the provinces and territories use. So in the past, we had to write 2 exams, one for our provincial license and one for our national exam, our national license. So 2 different fees, 2 different exams. And now we just write on the national exam, so we can get both our licenses at the same time. I guess a 2-for-1, as you can say. It's definitely not a 2-for-1 price, but it's definitely more money now. But we get both, and that allows us to be able to work across Canada and other territories and provinces across Canada. Once we get through that, then we do have our license, and we are free to do what we want. So there are many options, just like in other types of fields. We have options. We can work for somebody, or we can start our own business as well. Okay, so it gives you the flexibility if you're so inclined. Myself, I had a father who owned his own business. I was not interested in. I know he had a tough time when he had his business, a lot of headaches. So I was quite fine to work for somebody. In the construction industry, so as what plumbing falls underneath, there are a bunch of options as well in there. We have what's called the unionized environment, which I'm a part of. I'm part of United Association Local 401, which is just out of Bowmanville, Ontario. And that environment, which you work for a company who's a unionized contractor, and your sponsor when you're doing your apprenticeship will be the union, or in the non-union sector where the actual employer, the actual company, they will be your sponsor when you're doing your apprenticeship. So there's definitely ongoing training, hands-on in the field as well as in the school. Some of the things that we don't think about, those who are not into plumbing, who just hire plumbers, think they know what plumbers do. Yes, the usual joke is the plumber's crack, but we do have a variety of stuff. So we're not only providing the piping, the drainage piping that takes away the sanitary, okay, the stuff that we put down the drain, but we're also providing the water that comes into the building. Those are the most common things that most people think about, and that's what they think. They think about houses and stuff. So to give you an example, my experience over the years has been in the what they call the ICI sector. Okay, so industrial commercial institution. So I've been worked in big hospitals, colleges like Durham College. I've worked at Durham College doing projects, university, working at General Motors, working in high schools, building them, renovations and whatnot. We could do a variety of stuff. So one of the common things that we can do that I've done in a, number of schools and big buildings, big industrial buildings, is installing hydronic heating. So that's basically having a boiler that makes water really hot, and we use that water to circulate through the building through what they call different emitters in different rooms, like radiators, to provide heat for the building. A common one that a lot of people always talk about is the nice in-floor heating, the radiant in-floor heating. That's part of our trade as well. So that nice, when you walk across the nice tiles in the morning, the ceramic tiles, your feet are nice and warm. So one way of doing that is through hydronic heating or radiant heating, with having hot water tubing running underneath those tiles that keep your feet warm. And then a couple other key and exciting jobs that I've done over the years is I worked at General Motors in Oshawa. And part of their assembly line in Oshawa is that they have what they call the paint plant. So when they get the cars together, the bodies of the cars together that they're going to be chosen, they run them through an assembly line and they paint them the different colors that they're going to be sending them out. So in there, they have robots that go up and down over top that paint them. So for almost a full year, I spent in there redoing all their paint lines. So these little tubing, like 1/4 inch small, and running all the tubing that runs the paint through it, the paint cleaner through it, as well as the air lines that help to push all the paint through and clean it out. So pretty unique kind of job. As well as I've had the privilege of working out in Trenton at the Air Force Base, doing 2 different projects. One, building a hangar, new hangars for the new aircraft. I think they may actually still be building a few more, if I'm not mistaken. And so that's pretty exciting. So piping up really high in a really high ceiling, as you can imagine, anybody who's worked at the airport and knows how big those hangars are, as well as working at their building their control tower. So we actually, if anybody has any plumbing at home, you may have used a flex line that hooks up your water, cold water, to your water closet or your toilet to provide it water, that flexi kind of stainless steel line. Well, I've worked with ones that are quite large that we had to actually bring up the side of the tower. So if anybody's seen a control tower, sometimes they kind of have a funny shape, especially at the top where the glass is. So we had to provide these big lines and hook them up. So they're quite interesting. So needless to say, there's a lot out there to be done in plumbing. It's just one of the skilled trades. Again, I'm just trying to get to motivate people, to get people excited, also to educate. Okay, so it is an education in order to become any licensed person. So in the case of a plumber, again, just to kind of recap, we have to do 9,000 hours of education. 720 of them are at an institutional level, and the remaining hours are in the field, hands-on, working with a licensed person while getting paid. When that is all completed and you got your 70% average, then you write your certificate of qualification. Again, you need a 70 to pass. It's painstaking, 125 questions, all worth the same, some with a lot of math, some with some science involved. So that's another key point that I wanted to drop in there, that a lot of the trades involve math heavily and science. So keep that in mind as you spread the word. Back in my day, when I was looking at anybody who got the trades, I never really, like I said, wasn't really promoted, but I heard the whispers of back then that they said, "Oh, if the person is not smart enough, they should go there. They should go there." I'm going to tell you right now, the people in the trades, there's a lot of people in the trades. They are some of the smartest people you ever meet, and very talented. And I'm lucky to know quite a few here at Durham College, as well as some of my colleagues out in the field. So I'd like to thank you for joining me for Talking Skilled Trades. Look forward to talking to you soon with some special guests, talking about different trades, and I hope you'll join me. Until then, I'd like to wish you a good day. And remember, the skilled trades do matter.